Hey guys, this is Scott from Throughout the Girl Podcast. Welcome to another edition of Rewatch Revisit Review, our weekly video series where I rewatch a movie I haven't seen in a while, talk about my thoughts after revisiting it, and give you guys my review for that movie. So today, in honor of the newest Mission Impossible, I'm talking about the first Mission Impossible movie, Mission Impossible from 1996, in honor of Mission Impossible Fallout hitting theaters later this week. Alright guys, so let's just get started. We'll start with the rewatch section. Alright guys, so as I do for every rewatch section, I'm just going to give you guys the IMDb plot summary for the movie first, just so you have an idea of what happened in the movie that I'm going to be talking about before I get started into it. So the IMDb plot summary for Mission Impossible from 1996 says, based on the hit TV series, we see Jim Phelps was sent to Prague for a mission to prevent the theft of classified materials. His wife Claire and his trusted partner Ethan Hunt were members of Phelps' team. Unfortunately, something went horribly wrong and the mission failed, leaving Hunt the lone survivor. After he reported the failed mission, the head of the agency suspects that Ethan Hunt himself of being the culprit of the failed mission and being a mole. Now Ethan uses his unorthodox methods, which includes the aid of an arms dealer going by the name of Max, to try and find out who set him up and to clear his name. Alright, but that's the plot summary, guys. I'm sure for those of you who have seen Mission Impossible before, you already know what happened. But for those of you who don't, that was just so you have an idea of what I'm going to be talking about. But why I decided to rewatch this, I've already mentioned it a couple times, was because the newest one's coming out. Anytime a sequel comes out, I like to rewatch the ones that come out before it. I know there's nothing really unique about that, but that's why I do these things. Anyways, I watched it on Google Play because I couldn't find it on Netflix, which is always a disappointing thing, which is about another video I actually want to make, which is my theory that movie theaters put in their Netflix clauses, or movie studios put in their Netflix clauses, that if they got a sequel coming out, they can pull those things from Netflix for like 6 months before that movie comes out, or up to a certain lead up to the movie. I think that's a thing, but that's really not important. The point is though, guys, is that I watched it on Google Play. I rented it on there. I was thinking about even buying all of them on Google Play because they had a good deal on there, and I like digital copies of stuff. It's convenient just having them all on Google. But let's just move on to the revisit section now, guys, and we'll talk about my thoughts. Alright guys, so my thoughts after revisiting Mission Impossible is I still like this, as I do with a lot of my rewatch revisits. I obviously enjoy it, but this movie, I think I can see after rewatching this how this movie launched this pretty big and enduring franchise of Mission Impossible movies, Tom Cruise still being at the lead of them still, and I can see why. This movie's only, what, like 22 years old now? 22 years old, but it doesn't even feel that old, minus like a few of the technological things. But even like the switches between the masks look just crazy good, and little things like that. They just really great job in this one. The action scenes are well shot. Most of the CGI, this train scene at the end, CGI is a little with the helicopter, but like I said, it's 22 years old, and considering it's that old, it still looks pretty great. I still enjoyed watching it. I love the well thought out and intelligent plot. It to this day still remains entertaining to me. I still really just like this idea. It's a little ruined, like there's a twist in the movie, which if you're rewatching it, is kind of already ruined, but it's interesting to try and put those pieces back together when you are rewatching it for yourself. So that's another thing I enjoyed about rewatching this one. Like the last note I had was just I can't remember when I first watched this movie. I've always thought it was older than it is. Like it's only I've always thought this was an early 2000s, an early 90s or late 80s movie, but it turns out I was born when this movie actually came out. I was 3 by the time this movie came out, so yeah, that's always a little bit of like oh damn. I always think it's older than it is, which is probably just because it's been around my entire life. But I've definitely rewatched this movie at least every time one of the sequels has come out, so it means I've at least seen this thing a half a dozen times. And I still like it, I still enjoy it, I still learn new things each time I watch it, pick up new little things, because it's not one of those movies I've watched to death, like a Star Wars or a Batman or even Pirates of the Caribbean, but I still enjoy it. It's a good franchise. But that are all my thoughts after revisiting, guys. Let's move on to the review for Mission Impossible. Alright guys, as I start every review during our Rewatch Revisit review, I'm going to give you guys the critics and audience ratings for Mission Impossible first before I give you guys my personal ratings. So, audience and critics thought about Mission Impossible is... The IMDb rating for it is a 7.1 out of 10, which is pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. On Rotten Tomatoes, we see the critics give it a score of 63% on the tomato meter, which isn't great, and a 6 out of 10 average score, not 6, but 6.0 out of 10. It's screwed me up. I don't know why I read point zeros down. Anyways, so that's not a great score from the critics, but the audiences on Rotten Tomatoes bring it up a little bit with the 71% on the tomato meter and a 6.6 out of 10 average score. So you can see audiences like this a little bit more than the critics, but still not a whole lot more. Then we go over to Metacritic and we see that it has a 59 out of 100 on Metacritic, which is the worst score out of all these. But Metacritic's kind of bad for that when it comes to slightly older movies because it doesn't have that as many critic reviews. It only had like 50, I think, which to me isn't that many for a movie like this. But anyways, the point is, as you guys can see, audiences and critics aren't ecstatically in love with this film. I meant to look up the reasons why they weren't as, some of the things that kind of brought it down. I would give this slightly higher than that, which goes into my personal rating, which is a 2 thumbs up. I like this movie. I think it's pretty good. I don't see the problems, too many of the problems with it, besides, like I said, things that can be attributed to the fact that it's an early 90s film and there was different tropes and different things back then that were a little different, but maybe I'm just overlooking a few things. Let me know in the comments, guys, if there's anything you don't particularly like about Mission Impossible, but I like it overall. Like I said, it's a fun, rewatchable action film, and it's because of its great performances. It's got interesting plot, and it's got pretty good action scenes, and pretty iconic action scenes at that. But that leads to my favorite part, which is one of the most iconic action scenes ever. When you think Mission Impossible, I think you think of this scene, which is that vault heist scene at the CIA headquarters where you got Tom Cruise rappelling down from the ceiling, and he's trying not to make a noise, and he's trying not to let sweat fall off his face. It's just a great scene. It's so intense and tension-filled, and it's got gadgets. It's got everything you need in a great heist, and I just think that's why it still to this day remains such an iconic scene that people have tried to rip off and tried to improve on. They've even tried to improve on it themselves when they did the diving scene in one of them where they've got the thing underwater. But I still feel that this one kind of tops all of them. This is the benchmark that they're always kind of reaching for to try and make it even more iconic. And they've gotten close a couple times, having Tom Cruise on the side of an airplane, Tom Cruise on the side of the world's tallest building, and Tom Cruise jumping and breaking his ankle in this most recent one. But I still think that this vault scene remains one of the most iconic scenes. But we're just getting down to the last part now of the Rewatch Revisit review, guys, which is just my recommendation for Mission Impossible, which is watch it. If you haven't seen it already, I don't know where you've been hiding these past 20 years. Well, the last 4 or 5 sequels have come out. 4? Yeah, there's only 4 so far. The 5th one's coming out this week, right? Is that? I always forget if there's 4 or 5 of them. That's not important. Important thing is, guys, is I recommend this movie. If you're a Tom Cruise fan, or if you're an action or a spy movie fan in general, this is a modern classic that you just gotta see if you haven't already. And if you have already watched it, then watch it because the new ones come out, and it's always a good excuse to rewatch a film is when a sequel is coming out, or a sequel to a film. So why not? But that's my recommendation, and that's the end of the Rewatch Revisit review for Mission Impossible. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you think of Mission Impossible, what you think of the new Mission Impossible coming out if you've seen it. Don't give me any spoilers. I'm going to try and get to it this weekend, but be sure to let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. Thanks for joining me again today, guys, and have a good one.